Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to see you. Thanks for tuning into the channel and thanks for subscribing to the channel. Hope you've had an awesome day. Now, I want to address an issue here. I think there are people who believe that I am anti certain brands. I want to tell you that the number one thing that is most important to me is the electric revolution. It's what my Viking channel is called. The Electric Viking, right? What matters the most to me is the electric revolution. What matters the most to me is making sure the world is a better place in 10 years from now. So my videos are primarily intended to motivate and drive companies like Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Honda, and the other laggards, including Hyundai. Yes, they're lagging behind because they don't produce enough cars to make any real influence on the market. So my aim here is to motivate these companies to realize that unless they dramatically reform what they're doing, they are in serious trouble. Now I'm going to talk about what I mean by sharing with you what General Motors just announced. General Motors announced yesterday that it is building a new factory, new battery facility, in fact, in Michigan to develop lithium metal and solid state battery cells. Now before I go on, I should point out that GM is actually building 4 new factories, each producing 35 gigawatt hours of batteries that will come online by about 2025. So that's a total of 140 gigawatt hours. General Motors is well ahead of Toyota. Well ahead. That is the good thing here. Now, this new facility will be called the Wallace Battery Cell Innovation Center after Bill Wallace, who led the team that designed and released General Motors' advanced automotive battery systems in the Chevrolet Volt 1, the Volt 2, the Malibu Hybrid, and the Bolt EV before he died of cancer in 2018. Now, where will this battery facility, not a factory, facility, be located? It's going to be at GM's Global Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. General Motors announced the Wallace Battery Cell Innovation Center, an all-new facility that will significantly expand the company's battery technology operations and accelerate development and commercialization of longer range, more affordable electric vehicle batteries. The Wallace Center will be located on the campus of GM's Global Technical Center in Warren, Michigan. GM said the team will develop next generation battery cells. It will include lithium metal and solid state. The battery engineering team based at the Wallace Center will experiment with many types of future battery chemistry in addition to lithium metal, including pure silicon and solid state, along with different cell form factors. The Wallace Center is expected to build batteries ranging in energy density from 600 to 1200 watt hours per liter, along with crucial battery cell ingredients like cell active materials. Very interesting, very cool sounding stuff. However, the new factory will not produce large volumes of battery cells and it will focus on prototypes. The Wallace Center will be capable of building large format prototype lithium metal battery cells for vehicle usage beyond the small scale lithium metal cells typically used in handheld devices or research applications. These cells could be as large as 1000 millimeters, nearly twice the size of initial Ultium pouch cells, and will be based on GM's proprietary formula. But the team at the new battery facility will work to help deploy production of the new battery cells at GM and LG's Ultium battery factories. Now, work like this to me is very, very interesting. I'm fascinated by new battery technology, and I don't think new battery technology is a problem. In fact, it's a solution if we think we need solutions. But do we actually need solutions? Or, as Elon Musk has already said, do we already have the solution? Lithium iron phosphate battery cells just might already be the solution, which has been staring us in the face all this time and we didn't realize it. Now, there is an article, this article was posted on Electrek, and the most liked comment came from Vegan Sandwich, who said, why are the comments universally negative? Well, they're not universally negative. There was a few negative comments, but I think this was a gross exaggeration. Anyway, the more companies researching and developing solid state and other next generation battery technologies, the faster batteries will improve industry-wide. My first response to this would be companies that are hyping solid state batteries have not gotten anywhere near the criticism they should have, because they've been promising things saying that they're going to be out in 2022. This is what Toyota is saying. Toyota is basically lying to its shareholders by saying it's going to have solid state batteries in cars next year. Other companies are doing the same thing. Everybody who knows the truth knows that there will be no solid state batteries in cars in 2022 or 2023. And if there are, they will be so insanely expensive that nobody will be able to afford them except for, the billionaires. In other words, they're irrelevant right now to what the world needs. The world needs mass transportation at a price that they can afford. Americans need mass transportation at a price they can afford. Australians need it. Europeans need it. We all need vehicles at a price that we can afford. So that's just how SEAT responded, saying, because people are tired of BS. And I agree. We don't need unicorn technology to build EVs. Technology exists now to build EVs at the same cost parity as combustion vehicles. BYD is doing that today. And I want to add that many vehicle manufacturers in China are doing that today. They're just one of about 50 that are doing that right now at this moment. What I want to hear is that they are building a multi-100 gigawatt hour factory now, and it will be producing batteries in a year. If Tesla can do that in 3 continents, where an empty field is producing cars and batteries 1 year later, General Motors can surely do it in 1 continent. Well, okay, my response to this. Tesla has done very, very well, but Tesla is still not selling their vehicles on, the kind of price that the average person can afford. The Tesla Model 3, many people can afford, but realistically, what we need is vehicles that cost between, say, $15,000 to $30,000, where the average consumer can afford them. And those are the vehicles being produced in China right now. Now, do I think you should buy a Chinese vehicle? No, I do not. But I think General Motors needs to focus much more on efficiency. Volkswagen admitted it takes them 30 hours to build an EV, whereas it takes Tesla 10 hours. And Tesla's profitability is very high. However, Chinese automakers are selling EVs right now at much lower costs than equivalent ICE vehicles such as a Toyota Corolla. There are a number of EV companies in China right now who somehow magically can produce an EV and sell it at a profit when it's comparable but cheaper than the equivalent ICE vehicle from a Japanese or American or a European car manufacturer. That is where the West needs to go. The West needs to improve its efficiency and its scale. As soon as the scale is increased, mass scale is increased, companies like General Motors and Ford will be able to compete with China. But that may never happen because we have these red herrings that are being chased, like things like lithium metal and solid state batteries, when really what vehicles need is just simply to reduce the manufacturing costs by 50% or more and enable companies like GM to compete with China. My concern is because they're trying to develop technology that will go into expensive vehicles, that will be the only market they will have left. Now, Tesla will take a significant percentage of the pickup truck market. It's a guarantee. They already have 1.3 million pre-orders. By the time the Cybertruck goes on sale, they'll probably have nearly 2 million pre-orders. There's no doubt Tesla will take a significant percentage of the pickup truck market. And some of that has to come from other manufacturers. Some of that has to come from Ford and General Motors, right? Now, Rivian will also take a percentage of the pickup truck market. That means they're putting the squeeze on Ford and GM if all Ford and GM focus on is pickup trucks. So Ford and General Motors need to learn to focus on how they could reduce the cost of all of their vehicles. Can they do that by making them solid state or having lithium metal batteries, which obviously that tech won't be used for at least 5 years from now? No, they cannot. I think spend that money that they're investing on that into investing in efficiency improvements. Invest it in bringing down the cost of lithium iron phosphate battery cells. Invest it in economies of scale. My main concern here is that by 2030, there will only be really China and Tesla left dominating the market, taking potentially 70% of the market and leaving the rest of the world to pick up the scraps of the 30%. And that is not a good thing. We need manufacturing to stay in America. We need manufacturing to stay in Europe. We need manufacturing to stay in these countries to balance the world out. If China has too much power, if any country has too much power, it is not good for the rest of the world. So this is my message to General Motors, whether you are a stockholder or you work at GM or you have some influence there, I strongly encourage you to accept that we already have the battery technology of the future, and that is lithium iron phosphate battery cells. If we focus on merely slightly improving the energy density of those cells and continuing to bring down the cost, we will be able to compete potentially with Chinese automakers. But of course, in turn, we need to focus on efficiency, manufacturing improvements, and on electrifying our fleets, our entire fleet of vehicles as soon as possible. And I'm not talking by 2030, I'm talking about by 2025. All these timelines need to be accelerated. Otherwise, enormous disruption will basically end companies. When I say will end companies, you can end a company by simply halving its production output. If its existing debt is too high to service that debt because they now sell 50% of the cars, that virtually bankrupts a company. And that is absolutely not what I want to happen to GM, to Ford, to any American company. It is better for all of us if those companies survive, but they cannot unless they focus on those core issues and reduce the cost of their vehicles, reduce the cost of their batteries. And in my view, the simplest, best way to do that is to forget about all the distractions and focus on the core issues. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you work for GM, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.